Good morning, students. Today I am reading Political Life, chapter number 2. Name of the chapter is Federalism. Now, all of you see overview. Now, we will read from here what is federalism. So, all of you try to understand and listen carefully. What is federalism? In this paragraph, you have to understand the meaning of federalism. Let us get back to the contrast. Here, contrast means difference between Belgium and Sri Lanka that we saw in the last chapter. Students, we have to go back and we have to see the difference, the contrast between Belgium government and Sri Lankan government. We have already studied in the last chapter, in the previous chapter. You would recall that one of the key changes made in the Constitution of Belgium. Now, if you studied properly, you can recall, in Belgium, the Belgium government changed in the Constitution was to reduce the power of central government and to give these powers to the regional governments. Now you can understand, and you have read also the changes in the Constitution of Belgium to reduce the power of central government and hand over some power to the regional governments. Regional governments existed in Belgium even earlier, in the previous period. There were regional governments also. They had their roles and powers. Earlier regional governments had their roles as well as they had powers also. But all these powers were given to these governments and could be withdrawn, means to the regional governments earlier. These powers which were given by central government earlier, and central government could withdraw. Withdraw means take back. Withdraw the given power, we can say. Given power. The change that took place in 1993. Now we can see the change which took place, which happened in the Constitution. When? In 1993. Was that regional governments were given constitutional powers. Now regional governments, after the change in 1993, after 1993, constitutional powers were given to regional government by constitution, that were no longer dependent on the central government. Now regional governments became how? Independent, and earlier dependent. Why? Because central government can withdraw as well as the powers which were given by the central government. But after changes, central governments, and how was the relation between, we can say the difference, we can say the changes between central government and regional governments. Thus, Belgium shifted from unitary Unitary underline. Unitary means central government or central, we can say. Now Belgium shifted from unitary to federal form of government. The Belgium government now changed itself. How? From central government to, and it adopted federalism. Federalism means the system of government, one of the system of government. We will read and we have to understand also. Sri Lanka continues to be, for all practical purposes. Now in Sri Lanka, such type of change can we see? No. Now there was, we can say, the central government, a unitary system. There was a unitary system where the national government has all the powers. National government was there. It had all powers. Tamil leaders want Sri Lanka to become a federal system, but Tamil leaders, they tried to, we can say, to establish federalism in Sri Lanka, but you can see, federalism is a system of government. Now here you can understand what is federalism. Federalism means what? Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority. The meaning of, the definition of, we can say, the definition of federalism. It is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central government and various constituent units. Constituent means, we can say, the electoral area, means different states, we can say, units of the country. It's called the federalism. Usually a federation has two levels of government. Try to understand. In federalism, you can see the characteristic or quality. In federalism, you can see two levels of government, two types of government. One is the government for the entire country. Now, one government for the whole country, that is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. So there is a one government and for the entire country, which is responsible for few subjects. Few means some important subjects, which is handled by central government. The others are governments at the level of provinces or states. Other government, state governments, regional, according to the region, we can say the state government, that look after much of the day-to-day administering. Now day-to-day, whatever the activities, functions, day-to-day functions, means the state government look after, take care, day-to-day functioning of their state. Both these levels of governments enjoy their power independent of the other. Means state governments also, state governments had power which is given by a constitution, and central government also has power, and both of them how? Now they run how? Independently, we can say, of the other. Free. They are not dependent on each other. Now remaining paragraph we will read in next clip.